All right, guys, let me tell you something real quick when it comes to a spinnerbait, okay? Now, some may differ with me, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But when I throw a spinnerbait, I want wind. If you look at what I got right now, it's really slowing down. This is not the time I want to throw a spinnerbait. I want to throw a spinnerbait when that wind kicks up, because that's the best time for me. I know that the wind cuts down light penetration in the water, and it's much harder for them to recognize what this is. They will think it's a bait ball. Wind, to me, is the key for a spinnerbait. Right there. Yeah, there we go. A little nicer fish. Oh yeah, that's a lot nicer fish on a spinnerbait here. It's Dalton, everybody. Out here, give this beautiful fish a kiss, nice and fat. Out here running with a spinnerbait today in this wind. Let me see if I can get some more. This is really funny, okay? So right here, you look out here, it's sun. You go over here, behind me over here, the sun is blocked, and it's shade. And that shade is where I'm getting bit. If I throw it out there, I don't get many bites. I throw it in the shade, I get a bite. Once again, disguise that spinnerbait. You can do it through a lack of low light penetration. Great way to disguise the spinnerbait. So, you notice I don't have hardly any wind, but I got shade. And when I roll this spinnerbait in the shade, they'll come up and hit it. I'm throwing it in about, well, let's get this sucker in. Look at the size of this thing. Another good one. Man, that's a quality fish right there. Big spinnerbait will get you a quality fish. I know it's not very long. That's probably at least 2 pounds. Maybe even a little bit more. I'm not going to weigh him, but look at the size of that belly. And that's that spinnerbait. So if you don't have wind and you find shade, and I'm in about 15 foot of water, so I'm casting out, letting it hit the bottom, engage the blades, slowly bring this thing along. But again, most of the time they're taking it as I'm bringing it back up to the boat. It's like it's trying to get away from them, so they're going to grab it. So a heavy spinnerbait in the fall is really, really effective. I've got several bites on this. In fact, back there I lost one that was probably about 4 pounds. He got right up to the boat, shook his head, threw the hook right out. Kind of discouraging, but it happens. What I'm throwing is a 1 ounce spinnerbait. This is a Berkeley spinnerbait. I've got a baby goat on the back made by Z-Man. And this is just a bigger, heavier spinnerbait. I'm throwing it on 15-pound test and a medium heavy action rod. Now the way I throw a spinnerbait, in this kind of situation is a lot like I throw a crankbait. So I'm going to cast it out, and I'm going to go ahead and let it hit the bottom. I'm not really worried about how shallow it goes. I know it's a heavy spinnerbait, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to hit the bottom, basically kind of roll this spinnerbait right over the top of the rocks. First thing I do is engage the blades, and then I just slow roll it, and I'm already hitting stuff. So when I'm hitting stuff, I just speed it up. I know I'm hitting rocks. There's a lot of rock over here, and that's how I'm getting these bites. And what's been kind of interesting is most every one that I got, as I was bringing the spinnerbait up, back into the boat, like right here, that's where they've been hitting it. So I don't know if they're following it. I'm not really sure what they're doing. But you want to slow roll this thing. You want to hit rocks with it. And you want that head right there to bump stuff as it goes along. It's really a fun way to catch them. I do put a little trailer on here. I don't think you necessarily have to, but the reason I like a little trailer, it doesn't really matter what it is. I just want some type of piece of plastic on there because I feel like when they grab it, it feels more real, gives me a better hook set. I kind of bummed out I missed that big one over there, but it happens. I'm going to keep throwing it. But this is another good fall bait, a heavy spinner bait, bumping rocks, throwing it out deep. I'm throwing it out at least 14, 15 feet, but I'll go ahead and throw it right up on those rocks in 3 or 4 feet, move it faster, and just go ahead and bump those rocks like a crankbait. It works really well. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you next time.